Filled with sentiments of duty to your Majesty and of affection to our parent state, deeply impressed by our education and strongly confirmed by our reason, and anxious to evince the sincerity of these dispositions, we present this petition only to obtain redress of grievances and relief from fears and jealousies occasioned by the system of statutes and regulations adopted since the close of the late war for raising a revenue in America, extending the powers of courts of admiralty and vice-admiralty, trying persons in Great Britain for offenses alleged to be committed in America, affecting the province of Massachusetts Bay, and altering the government and extending the limits of Quebec, by the abolition of which system the harmony between Great Britain and these colonies, so necessary to the happiness of both, and so ardently desired by the latter, and the usual intercourses will be immediately restored. In the magnanimity and justice of your Majesty and Parliament, we confide for a redress for our other grievances, trusting that, when the causes of our apprehensions are removed, our future conduct will prove us not unworthy of the regard we have been accustomed in our happier days to enjoy. For appealing to that Being who searches thoroughly the hearts of his creatures, we solemnly profess that our counsels have been influenced by no other motive than a dread of impending destruction. Permit us then, most gracious Sovereign, in the name of all your faithful people in America, with the utmost humility, to implore you, for the honor of Almighty God, whose pure religion our enemies are undermining, for your glory, which can be advanced only by rendering your subjects happy and keeping them united, for the interests of your family depending on an adherence to the principles that enthroned it, for the safety and welfare of your kingdoms and dominions, threatened with almost unavoidable dangers and distresses, that your Majesty, as the loving Father of your whole people, connected by the same bands of law, loyalty, faith, and blood, though dwelling in various countries, will not suffer the transcendent relation formed by these ties to be farther violated, in uncertain expectation of effects that, if attained, never can compensate for the calamities through which they must be gained. We therefore most earnestly beseech your Majesty that your royal authority and interposition may be used for our relief, and that a gracious answer may be given to this petition. That your Majesty may enjoy every felicity through a long and glorious reign over loyal and happy subjects, and that your descendants may inherit your prosperity and dominions until time shall be no more, is and always will be our sincere and fervent prayer. President of Congress, Henry Middleton. New Hampshire, John Sullivan, Nathaniel Folsom. Massachusetts Bay, Thomas Cushing, Samuel Adams, John Adams, Robert Treat Payne. Rhode Island, Stephen Hopkins, Samuel Ward. Connecticut, Eliphalet Dyer, Roger Sherman, Silas Dean. New York, Philip Livingston, John Alsop, Isaac Lowe, James Duane, John Jay, William Floyd, Henry Weisner, Simon Barham. New Jersey, William Livingston, John DeHart, Stephen Crane, Richard Smith. Pennsylvania, Edward Biddle, Joseph Galloway, John Dickinson, John Morton, Thomas Mifflin, George Ross, Charles Humphreys. Delaware, Caesar Rodney, Thomas McKean, George Reed. Maryland, Matthew Tillman, Thomas Johnson, William Paca, Samuel Chase. Virginia: Richard Henry Lee, Patrick Henry, George Washington, Edmund Pendleton, Richard Bland, Benjamin Harrison. North Carolina: William Hooper, Joseph Hughes, Richard Caswell. South Carolina: Thomas Lynch, Christopher Gadsden, John Rutledge, Edward Rutledge.